Hello, Capricorn. This is your personal month forecast for November 2023. So we start out the month with definitely this main focus in Scorpio with three planets there: Sun, Mercury, and Mars. And Scorpio is your 11th house. That shows that, as we close out October and start November, the main focus of your life that is kind of highlighted or lit up is, your groups, community, any kind of like tribes, groups that you affiliate yourself with, any kind of like coworkers, or this is connections that you make in the world. Basically, it's a very public part of life. So that's generally what you're kind of working on. That's where your energy is. That's where you are thinking, learning, communicating, etc. There's kind of a busyness there. Venus is in your fellow earth sign of Virgo, so Venus is kind of agreeing with you. It's supporting you at the beginning of the month. It's supporting you in getting what you want, finding what you find pleasurable. It's supporting you in having some amount of charisma as well and being attractive yourself. And Venus specifically, it's in your ninth house as we start the month, so you may be enjoying getting a little bit deeper than usual, getting a little bit philosophical, asking these larger questions, things like that. So I want to give you some key dates throughout the month of major developments that may be affecting you, okay? So the first one is Saturday, November 4th, 2023. This is the day where Saturn turns direct at 0 degrees Pisces. This is your third house. So for everyone in different ways, Saturn turning direct means increased Saturnian energy, more literal Saturnian energy. So heavy energy. This is top down, challenges and delays. It's definitely a heavy energy. It pushes us, it's challenging us. But the silver lining is, this energy is asking all of us to be mature and responsible. And the more we can do that, the more that this energy will actually reward us. So it's definitely a tough love energy, but it's not all bad, okay? For you, Saturn turning direct in your third house means that you're really getting real and, being, there may be more of a need to be responsible and realistic in regard to your short distance travel, daily habits, as well as, casual friendships and, any kind of like neighborly connections, siblings, friends, acquaintances, coworkers, all those like casual friendships that you deal with on kind of a daily basis. This is typically a pretty light, like casual part of life, but Saturn turning direct there for you means that, this is actually an area that again, there could be challenges or delays or just a general increased need for responsibility from you. You're required to be a bit of a leader in that area going forward after November 4th, okay? Jumping ahead to November 8th, this is the day where Venus leaves Virgo and enters Libra. So Venus is no longer in your fellow Earth sign. It's now in Libra. However, this is still pretty powerful for you. This is pretty potent because Libra is your 10th house. This is your area of career and reputation. And so Venus, being in that most public part of your chart, that's very powerful for sure. This means that not only are you enjoying your reputation and career maybe a little bit more going forward after November 8th, but also you are more enjoyable in this area as well. Others just naturally kind of, radiate toward you. They enjoy your company more. You may be appreciated a little bit more, and again, it's having to do with whatever your reputation is, whatever your role in society is or in the public. That's where you'll be experiencing the kind of this pleasure and desire and abundance and appreciation moving forward. So really it's kind of all good, no bad with Venus. Venus kind of makes everything easier and lighter and more fun. So again, Venus in your 10th house of career, very powerful and very fun as well. Going ahead only 2 days forward to Friday, November 10th, this is the day where Mercury changes signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius. And this starts a general pattern because, as you'll notice, Mercury, Mars, and the Sun, they've all been kind of hanging out together. They've been buds lately. They've all been in Scorpio. One by one throughout the month, they will leave Scorpio and enter Sagittarius. So Mercury is only the first of the three to do so, all right? Mercury leaving Scorpio, entering Sagittarius, this means that you are more busy and maybe learning more in regard to 12th house issues, since Sagittarius is your 12th house. So what does that mean? So 12th house has a lot to do with the subconscious and spirituality. It's kind of an energy that is sometimes difficult to connect with. 12th house often has to do with ending phases, loss, isolation. It's a heavy house to have planets transit through. It is, objectively difficult. Oftentimes it can indicate a resting phase, a need to just kind of, chill out, zone out. I'm gonna be a hermit for a little while. I've got some shit to work through. I need to process some stuff, right? That's generally what happens when you have planets entering your 12th house. So more and more as we go throughout the month, that's going to be where the focus is shifting. But right now, Mercury's just the first to do so. So, when it comes to the intellect, learning, your mental energy, all of that is moving toward this more private, more subconscious, more spiritual kind of energy for you. Okay. All right. And then jumping ahead to November 13th, this is the day where we have that new moon at 20 degrees Scorpio. So we're not done with Scorpio season yet. We still have a couple things going on here. So yeah, look, if you have any placements around 20 degrees Scorpio or in Scorpio in general, they could be affected by this. But yeah, okay. So new moon, 20 degrees Scorpio. Again, Scorpio is your 11th house. So this points to a new beginning in regard to, how are you associating with your group or groups? How do you fit in with the community? How don't you fit in with the community? You are Capricorn, you are an individual. So, depending on the nature of your chart, this could be an area where you excel or maybe not so much. It just kind of depends. But yeah, and I always say new moons, they're not a new beginning in the sense that, it's not necessarily the best time to like go out and do something really bold and launch a new project. This is a quiet new beginning. It's a humble new beginning. This is the time where you plant the seed, right? So I always say, we should probably always be a little bit more focused on our intentions. That would be probably good for us, but especially on a new moon, what are your intentions? You can go over any intentions at all, there's nothing wrong with that, but specifically with 11th house themes. So, how are you fitting in socially? What kind of groups are you a part of? Is there a good give and take, a healthy relationship with those parts of life for you? Would it behoove you to network more or maybe even network less? These are the things that I would suggest maybe you kind of think about on and around this new moon. All right. Okay, and then November 22nd, this is the day where Sun leaves Scorpio and enters Sagittarius. So by now, this is a huge shift in the energy, a huge shift in the focus. And again, Sagittarius is 12th house. So now with Sun there, honestly, this is, one of the more difficult transits. So, I don't want to be, I want to be real with you in saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if going forward after November 22nd, you might be a little bit, you're experiencing maybe a heavy energy. There could be even a little bit of, kind of depression there a little bit, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Give yourself time to process. If you need some alone time, great. Obviously, use everything in moderation, use your own discernment to make sure that you're doing what's truly best for you. We don't want to overdo it and completely isolate ourselves, but I do think we need some time alone from time to time. Again, you are Capricorn, you're very independent, right? So, we all need time to process things on our own, but maybe especially you, right? So this is just a time for, generally focusing on that more. Give yourself time to rest, to integrate, to process, because likely, I would imagine right now there's something heavy that you are processing, or maybe it's just lots of little things. There's kind of a buildup of things to just like slow down and process for you. So however you do that, if there's some kind of sports or pastime that you do that allows your mind to relax, or even something as simple as certain household chores, may be relaxing for us, like the dishes or like folding laundry, for example. I know that sounds kind of lame, but these are the things that can actually allow our minds to kind of relax and unwind, and they can it can be almost like a form of meditation, or you could literally do meditation. Now would be a great time for that as well. So anyway, that's kind of generally the focus as we go forward. It's heavy energy. It is kind of an ending phase. It can indicate loss sometimes, but the silver lining is this is what is necessary to go through. You have to go through this ending phase in order to get to the beginning phase that will come in December, later on this year when we start Capricorn season. So eventually, we're going to come around to your time of the year. Everyone gets their turn, right? You're going to have that exciting new beginning again, but first you have to go through this ending phase. All right. That's basically all it is. Okay, and then jumping forward to Friday, November 24th, this is the day where Mars now finally leaves Scorpio and enters Sagittarius. So Mars was the last of those three planets, if you want to call the sun a planet. We do that sometimes in astrology. So just check out the chart now. We don't have any Scorpio planets at all. It's just a focus on, primarily Sagittarius as far as the inner planets go. So again, this is 12th house energy. Mercury is there. So you're thinking, communicating, learning about, maybe isolation or things involving spirituality and the subconscious, emotion to some extent, emotional well-being, mental well-being. That's what you're thinking and learning about. That's where your focus and energy is. And that's now where your ambition and your drive is as well, with Mars there. So yes, and a different way of looking at it is, 12th house is the subconscious, it's the unseen. With Mercury, Sun, and Mars there, all of their energies are, you can still connect with them, just in a less direct way. All these planets for you are a little bit subdued. So again, that's where, don't, maybe go easy on yourself around this time if you don't have a whole lot of motivation or energy and you just want to kind of, chill out, and maybe you're a little bit slower than usual and you want to, take your time and be kind of mellow. Do that. Go easy on yourself. We all have these phases. We all have these periods. Oftentimes there's this, it's kind of like breathing in and out. There's a yin energy, then a yang energy. Yin, yang, outward, inward, right? That's just the natural rhythm of things. You can't have that exciting outward expansion phase if you don't have that contraction that comes before it. Okay, so in our society, we don't really like these types of phases as much because they're not as productive, I guess. But this is necessary. It's absolutely necessary. Okay, so go easy on yourself. Take time to rest. Take care of yourself. Basically, take care of your mental and emotional health. This is a time of integration for you. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk about today is the full moon that will occur at 4 degrees Gemini. I always say full moons are not just about the moon. Really, any lunar aspect is not just about the moon. It's about the relationship between the sun and the moon, okay? So in the case of a full moon, it is an opposition. In this case, it's about the Sagittarius-Gemini axis, because moon at 4 degrees Gemini is opposing the sun at 4 degrees Sagittarius. So this is kind of an interesting one for you. Generally for everyone, full moon in Gemini, it's very sporadic, very scattered. This is a yang full moon, so it's an especially crazy full moon for everyone, right? For you specifically, this is lighting up your 6th, 12th house axis. The 6th, 12th house axis, I would say, again, perhaps this is subjective, but I would say this is the most difficult axis to deal with. It's very much like inward energy. It's focusing on maybe rest, relaxation, focusing on your own health and integration. This is an ending phase. Again, full moons are about culmination and they do bring increased energy. But again, the part of your chart that this is affecting has to do more with an ending phase. So yes, it's a culmination, but it's a culmination in your own integration and how you are processing all of that stuff that you're dealing with. I know that you have such high standards for yourself. You put so much pressure on yourself, and now more than ever, there can feel like there's a lot of pressure on you, and that's kind of reaching a boiling point on and around this full moon. Okay, so depending on the situation and your other placements in your chart, as well as your free will and how you choose to deal with this, I could see this full moon either making you feel totally crazy and unhinged and unbalanced. And, obviously we don't want that. We can use the astrology to avoid that type of thing. But on a much more positive note, I can also see you using this full moon to pretty much do the exact opposite, to increase your mental strength and stamina and well-being, to strengthen your own spirituality and intuition. Again, you have to, I have to be careful, and I should be careful in how I phrase things. I'm not trying to tell you what to do at all, but I would suggest, we all have some kind of pastime. Hopefully we've got some kind of pastime or hobby that allows our mind to relax and unwind. And it can sometimes be activities that are actually very intensive, like, certain sports, they may be very energetic and kind of draining. But mentally speaking, you get in the zone. You forget yourself for a moment. That's what I'm talking about. So we all have some kind of sport or pastime, even certain chores. Certain things that are maybe more relaxing in nature as well. Reading, writing, gardening, watching like a favorite movie. As long some I'm kind of asking you to relax and unwind your mind, basically forget yourself if you can. These are healthy forms of escapism, and they're what's necessary for building your intuition and grounding you, rather than it may be tempting to look for things that are more fast paced in nature, or turn to certain substances, or less healthy forms of escapism, and those are going to do the opposite. They're gonna give you some level of satisfaction, but then they will destabilize you. So this is the nature of this full moon. It's definitely some heavy energy for you, but again, this can be really beautiful depending on how you kind of play your cards, if that makes sense. Okay, and that's pretty much what I have for you for the month. I like to just close this out by noting how different the chart is at the end of the month compared to the beginning. At the beginning of the month, it was such heavy energy. There was so much focus on Scorpio as well as Virgo, since Venus was there. And for most people, this was very heavy energy, but you are Capricorn. You live and breathe heavy energy. You deal with heavy energy all the time. So honestly, I think at the beginning of the month, it was a little bit more natural for you. Toward the end of the month, there's this main focus on Sagittarius, and Venus has moved into Libra. So these are all much lighter energies. They are, kind of a little bit more sporadic. So for you, it's actually a little bit backward. For you, the end of the month may be feeling a little bit heavier in nature. But again, there's a silver lining. We are approaching your season. We're approaching your time to shine. You just got to go through these kind of slower, heavier energies through this ending phase, so to speak, before you get to that really empowering time for you. Okay, there's a pro and a con to everything. There's something we can gain from every part of this whole crazy cycle, right? Okay, but yeah, that's what I have for you. I hope this makes sense or helps you in some kind of way. If it resonates, you can help me by liking this video or subscribing. But anyway, have a great month, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you for watching.